Good to have you with us here on RT today. I'm Rory Souchet in Moscow. The US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton confirmed the terrorists behind the recent deadly hostage-taking in Algeria got their weapons from Libya. The attack was staged in response to France's intervention in Mali. RT's Maria Finoshna looks at why French troops are there in the first place.
The French have dived headlong into their military operation in Mali, but the discussion is still ongoing as to exactly why the Western nation has put boots on African soil, again costing money and people's lives. Official rhetoric remains in line with the mantra of war on terrorism, but some statements suggest another layer. France's defense minister has declared total reconquest of Mali is the main goal, with the president echoing French troops, 2,500 so far, will remain in the region for as long as necessary.
They're attempting to militarize huge sections of Africa so they're able to monopolize the access to the resources that are there. We're seeing this with AFRICOM specifically in relation to the United States, and now we're seeing it with France and other parts of the European Union through European Union troops actually being used in some of the Mali conflict as well, which has been relatively rare in the past.
Gold. Mali is the world's third largest producer. Oil, gas and especially enormous uranium deposits make the country very attractive. Nearly 80% of all France's energy, generated by almost 60 nuclear power plants, is dependent on African uranium.
French companies must go on the offensive and fight the growing influence of rival China for a stake in Africa's increasingly competitive markets.
This is neocolonialism, but with S in plural. France is far from the only nation to have and defend its interests in Africa.
The French have intervened around 50 times in Africa in the last 50 years, since official decolonization, protecting regimes from rebels like in Djibouti or the Central African Republic, or fighting regimes like in Libya. France is always driven by its own economic or geopolitical interests. This time is no different.
Decolonization wasn't actually over. Apart from economic, there is also a strategic importance. This part of Africa opens route to the Red Sea and Middle East. Britain and France have for centuries fought for it. Not it's like a remake, but with many other involved.
But that doesn't mean there aren't mutual interests here.
If you ask people in Mali, you'd be surprised. They were waiting for somebody to save them, because their army is not equipped or trained to oppose these militants. It was necessary to intervene. In Mali, people see this operation as a liberation. They hardly wanted to live under Islamists.
Mesri Haddad is a philosopher and a former Tunisian ambassador to UNESCO. His view on the positive impact for the people of Mali is that it is actually a colonial throwback.
It's okay if you want to come and use resources, but then it's logical that locals profit as well, and that those riches go to improve their life. But that's not the case. This way is wild, a kind of slavery.
Mali, among the richest in natural resources in Africa, yet remains one of the poorest nations in the world.
For many years, this building in Paris was the headquarters of the country's Ministry of Colonies, the body administered French territories overseas. Today, that ministry no longer exists, and former French colonies are independent. But some warn that colonial ideas are not just part of history, and that history may be repeating. Maria Finoshna, RT from Paris.